Hey, what's up, Onward here. Today I want to talk to you guys about interval training and why it's important. Sorry I missed a video on Friday. I was feeling a little bit sick, but I'm actually thinking about rolling back my videos to only doing it once a week. But I'm so happy that we finally reached 40 subscribers. I'm excited to see this channel grow and to continually put out great content for you guys that is interesting. But let's go ahead and jump into it. What is the benefits of interval training? So with interval training, what you usually get is it's easier to burn calories. It's easier to kind of put out more effort. What I've kind of found with just my personal experience, and it's backed up with a lot of what I've read, is that with interval training and using an actual plan, what you find, especially like with that data and other stuff, that you find is the fact that I am forcing myself to go harder and put more effort in because I know I should be in zone 3, zone 2, and like I'm forcing myself to do it versus when I go on a 3-4 hour ride, I might be like, okay, I need to pace myself. I want to last X amount of distance. But in interval training, it might be after work or between shooting these videos and something else that I'm like, hey, you know, I have an hour and a half. I need to get a workout in. Interval trainings really allow me to do that. So I advise you guys to like take a look at them, really look into them. So interval training is basically looked at as incremental increases of effort followed by like a rest period. So you would see it something visualized like this over here. And basically you'll see yourself spike up in effort and then rest. What those highs basically mean are those are a level of effort. So if you're using like a power meter or a heart rate meter, which we'll talk about a little bit next, but basically either metric, they're kind of defined between like a Z1 and a Z5, and that's zones. And basically zone 5 is your highest level of effort, zone 1 is your lowest. And basically with those level of efforts, those are attached to those peaks and valleys that you get. So the easiest way to think of like a Z5 is like a sprint. The Z3 is kind of like your minimum, like your middle of the road, something that you can sustain for like a very long endurance ride. Big thing to me to think about is kind of how are these metrics derived. So you can kind of look at it as there's two metric-based ways. So that's your heart rate meter or your power meter. And then there's just LOE, so like level of effort. And basically with your level of effort, you might see those described as go really hard, but there's no empirical way to actually describe that or like say, hey, this is how hard I should be going. And it can, you know, you're just having an off day or you're feeling tired and you're like, this is as hard as I can go. There's no data to back that up of how hard you're going. Looking at the difference between a heart rate meter and a power meter, with a heart rate meter, I mean, it's still spitting out data, but what you find like just as a human being, looking at like the Mayo Clinic studies and just other things, is that with your heart rate meter, I was like looking it up just to see kind of more information about it, but it can vary based on air temperature, body positions. So, you know, if you're in your aero position versus the drops, just your motions, just there's a lot of variables that go into heart rate. Like I was doing it on my Garmin for a bit. It's very much like you have to interact with it more, where it's like, how much are you resting? How much are you doing this? Because there's no way of it telling you or knowing, okay, you've been recovered because your heart rate might just be high that day. Or, you know, it might take like a minute or like 30 seconds for you to get up to that zone by trying to sprint or trying to do these efforts that get your heart rate into that sustainable like range. A lot of metrics, power meter or heart rate meter, are not based off of a like instantaneous reading. Usually those are shown on an average. So that might, you know, average it out over 3 seconds, just so you don't see like 600 watts and then 1 second later see 100 watts because your left and right foot aren't entirely symmetrical power, even though if you have that problem, you've noticed. But that being said, like it's just not a consistent way of measuring your data. And with power meters, basically, if you want to go from that like zone 2 to zone 4, if you have a integrated power meter when you're on the road, on your bike, or you know on your Wahoo, both of those, as soon as you're pressing down your pedal, it's reading that, it knows you're in that right zone. And you can see that. So it's really instantaneous feedback. You know what you're doing is that right area. The last thing I want to talk about in this is basically how do you get started in interval training. So with interval training, like I kind of mentioned in the last one, you don't need anything. You can just have a heart rate meter. You can just go out on rides and just push yourself. And I will put a few links down in the descriptions from like Bicycle Magazine and a few others of just really basic, simple interval workouts that you guys can try. But then on the other side of like, what applications can I use, what stuff like that. So since it is winter, Zwift is a great platform for this. Even if it's not cold, you're just like trying to get in. Zwift is really good with the group rides, the racing and stuff like that. I've been doing their Build Me Up program right now, and in a few weeks, I'm gonna talk to you guys more about that and some of my experiences with Zwift. So another application is TrainerRoad, which is actually the one I'm looking at switching into. I know I told you guys before I was looking at Sufferfest, but with TrainerRoad, it looked like it offered a lot more longevity. So I could actually just keep doing different programs. It would suggest it, and I don't have to pick it, which I had to like with Zwift. And it sounds like with Sufferfest, I had to kind of pick it a little bit more. And then with Sufferfest, if you guys don't have Apple Fitness or any other fitness program, it might be a good program for you guys to look into because it offers yoga and weight training and stuff. So it allows you guys to mix up your plans a little bit more. Basically for any of those applications, you'd want a smart trainer, or I think you can do this with a dumb trainer too if you have a power meter built in, or a heart rate. You guys have to go down to like their websites and kind of view the specifics. I know for TrainerRoad, you have to have a power meter and you have to have a heart rate meter to do the indoor training. But yeah, I hope this video was helpful for you guys. I know this is a little bit shorter, but I hope this actually provided a lot more detailed information. If you guys have any questions at all, like always, leave them down in the description, and please hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps the channel grow, and it will allow me to keep doing fun and exciting things for you guys. And I'll see you guys Monday.